Ooh, yeah!
Last things first, you already win. You already him. You don't gotta pretend. Fuck them, you already king. You stay real, you confident in your skin. It's all now. Sit in the power that you already in. This the story of a master from a true Bedouin. Far away from home than few ever been. First round pick, league of the smooth gentleman. The game rigged like 50 said it's a cruel sentiment. I'm from the era when lyrics and bars is over everything. 5-star veteran. You couldn't walk in my fucking shoes or carry them. Excuse my borderline is very thin.
Y'all not serious.
Point blank period. I flex and twist necks like cherry stems. Thought he was buried, but there he is, and we never tell.
Going on, everybody? Today is November 7th, and it is episode, I believe, 108. Oh, I'm loving it. I love seeing that number grow. And it's also episode 25 in our 30 for 30 series. We've been doing 30 episodes in 30 days. Each episode, 30 minutes. Applause for that. Something like that. And it's been good, man. It's been good. Yesterday was a campaign wrap-up episode. And we just talked about this political nonsense that we're all in, right? Everybody's looking around at each other all confused. Holy shit. The felon, he's back. They gave him the keys, he's back. We're gonna have to deal with 4 more years of Trump's the media interactions. Trump versus media interactions and Trump tweets. And people will be urged to respect him merely because of the station he carries, right? Everything that we know about this person, there are many people who will urge respect. And, you know, after 4 years of calling him a tyrant and calling him the next, coming of like the end of the world and all that, it's just everyone's gonna have to navigate a very interesting thing, which is exactly what they wanted, man. The MAGA people have actually pulled off something pretty stunning. I'm not saying I'm happy about it. I just think it's absolutely insane. I'm far from happy about it. I think that the political system produces this stuff. And I think that even if Kamala Harris had won, we'd be dealing with another kind of weird thing to navigate. We'd have to navigate the reality of the humanist worker party, the labor, the good nicer of the two parties, right? Being embroiled in funding and greenlighting a genocidal war, among other things. Just, running to the right of the Republican Party in a lot of ways, choosing as a strategy, as a political strategy to court as many Republicans as possible and to try to show themselves to be friendly to those traditional right-wing interests. Why? Because the belief is fuck them, fuck the people on the left. They've got nothing they can do. They gotta fuck with us. Applause for that. They got nothing they can do. And so then they did that. And so that, there's a quote from Chuck Schumer from I think 2016 where he talks about, very bluntly, he says, for every liberal we lose in Pittsburgh, we gain a right-leaning mother or something like this in Philadelphia, in the suburbs of Philadelphia. The quote is something like that. You can find it. It just shows you how they think. It's just a numbers game. It's just a pop, 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 pop. So here I am talking politics. You're talking this kind of politics, and I've told you this is not the kind of stuff I want to talk about. But this stuff matters too. I think people get bent out of shape. I think everything's silly. I think this is a game, but the game has real consequences, of course. You know, I talked about Palestine quite a bit here, but there are other conflicts. People are also very familiar with Ukraine. Here's one that people aren't as familiar with. It's a North African country called Western Sahara, and the Sahrawi people are indigenous to that area, and this was a part of Africa that was colonized by Spain. And Spain left in the 70s and just left and had a power vacuum. And what happened was that Morocco, the neighboring country to Western Sahara, um, sent troops and people and grabbed the territory. It was a land grab and territory grab against the wishes of the Sahrawi people. And so there was protests and there was violent outbreaks. Um, I'm bringing this up to bring up the point that this was considered the UN um, has been ruling on this area and has been giving favorable uh, recognition to the Sahrawi people and to their claims of independence. The African Union recognizes the Sahrawi people and their independence from Morocco. And yet it was at the end of the Trump first term, just at the end, on a whim, literally on a whim, and to settle certain scores, personal beefs he had with certain congressmen, and because he just had this concept that I'm going to explain. He recognized Morocco's claim to Western Sahara in contravention of everything that the UN had done, in contravention with against the recognition of the African Union, the other countries in the region. Donald Trump from the United States pressed his thumb on the levers and on the scales and recognized Morocco. Why did he do it? Morocco's claim to Western Sahara. Why did he do it? Because it was a deal he wanted to make. And at the end of the day, it was a deal that he made with Morocco. It was a triangulation deal between Morocco and Israel and other countries in the region. And at the end of the day, he wanted to claim that he solved the Middle East. And that's what he started to claim. He would claim after this that he solved the Middle East. And of course he didn't. He brought peace to the Middle East. He always felt that he didn't get enough credit for this. But what he did was he set up this system that really was in order to benefit Israel and to normalize relations between Morocco and Israel and other countries. Saudi Arabia, I believe, is part of this deal. And it's a brilliant deal of normalization that excluded the Palestinian people and excluded the Sahrawi people, because in his mind they don't matter. They're politically irrelevant to him. He's a deal maker. He's about who's got power and who's got something to trade. And I'll do this. I'll do that for you. I'll do this. And then you can have something called a deal, and then everyone shakes hands, and especially the power brokers. And what it did was it actually sealed a lot more suffering by doing that, because it put the Palestinian people and their political leadership and Hamas in a position to feel an urgency to act and to gain attention for what was going on. It also sealed the Sahrawi people, who are now, most of them, a good number of them, living in refugee camps in Algeria. He's just moving cards around for his purposes and sets up real, meaningful, painful consequences for people in parts of the world that he simply doesn't care about. And this is something that Donald Trump is uniquely good at, it seems. This kind of callous sensibility about making deals and not taking the human toll into consideration. And the unfortunate thing is that the Democrats, the party who's supposed to be more attuned to the human condition in this way, with a social awareness and socialist ethic, they haven't proven themselves to be that either. And yet, they want you to vote for them. They are, you know, people. Of course, you can find differences. Of course, they find their ways to be different. But to be an exciting and meaningful difference and challenge to these other systems of imperialism and capitalist abuse and international, the NAFTA expansion of corporate power under Democrat administrations. And so this all brings us into the campaign, into Kamala, or campaign where the vice president had to concede that she lost in like a pretty serious landslide loss, losing the electors and the popular vote. And what do the media people do? Do the Democrats in the days, it's only been day 2, I think now, right? But do the Democrats and the media people help us understand what's going on? What kinds of stories do they come up with when they have to analyze what went wrong? Let's see here.
There are a lot of men who just simply, black and white, men who just simply don't trust a woman to be, chief executive, commander in chief. They just don't want to vote for a woman.
But it's not just misogyny from white men. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men.
I'm interested to see how individuals who either set out or chose Jill Stein to punish the Democratic Party are going to reconcile that with what happens with Bibi Netanyahu.
Some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men.
Anyone who has experienced or been in the United States for any period of time and experienced this country's history and knows it cannot have believed that it would be easy to elect a woman president, let alone a woman of color. Let's just be clear. And nothing that was true yesterday about how flawlessly this campaign was run is not true now.
Flawless.
I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign.
There are a lot of men who just...
That's my new sound effect, yo. And I'll be playing some clips, and I want to chop it. I want to get out of there real quick. We're gonna do it. Chop. I like that, Joe. I found this today and made it. So we got 2 chops here. Here's chop number 1. Here's chop number 2. Sometimes if we chop it something big, we gotta get rid of this thing. We're gonna go. Chop that shit. We definitely had to chop that. That was a bunch of nonsense. I'm telling you, man. I grew up thinking we were watching people attempting truth. I say this. I'll say that. I wrote this on Facebook, and I'm still trying to develop this. But this journalism is supposed to be nonfiction. Nonfiction is a subgenre of fiction. Nonfiction is a subgenre of fiction. It's the subgenre that plays with reality. Do I have a piece of thing in my teeth? I think so. It is the subgenre that plays with reality, nonfiction. Like, these people are not even trying. Perhaps they're not capable of giving us a real analysis about what went on, what was wrong with the Joe Biden campaign in the first place, why he had to step down, what was wrong with the Kamala Harris campaign, what's wrong with the Democrats' positioning generally. There's no critique that they can give. I'm telling you, it is the elites of the political scene and the elites of the media scene. They get in a room together after a loss like what was suffered in the election, and they look at each other and they agree that you didn't do anything wrong. You're good. I'm good. And let's just blame somebody. Let's blame the voters. Fuck those voters. We hate them anyway. We're just trying to trick them and lie to them anyway. Listen, you're a nice guy. We had brunch the other day. I'm a nice guy. Yeah. Okay, so it's not us. It's not that we can do better. It's not that we've abandoned every traditional Democrat or liberal value, and we've reached a point of absurdity. Nope. No. It's men, and it's black men in particular, and there's a whole bunch of misogyny and blah blah blah. Blah. And the dude says, people tried to punish the Democrat Party. Sure, some people did. Other people are seriously actually trying to engage with democracy. Applause for that. Other people are actually trying to vote for a candidate and a set of values and a platform that will improve their lives and actually comports with their values and makes them more safe. Because the foreign policies that have been carried out across multiple generations makes us less safe. It makes us less safe in the world. This posture of undermining international law, it isn't good for us. And this militarization of everything, the exploding military-industrial complex, the exploded complex, some people are actually engaging that way, and that informed why they voted. Or how they voted. It's not because they're punishing anybody. But this lens, the cable news people will invite, again, elite journalism, even the word elite, the corporate journalism invites the corporate politicos to speak and to give the narrative that absolves themselves of any analysis for themselves and what they do. And then they put that into our heads, because then that's what you tune in and you're watching this and you're getting the sense of this thing, and you're blaming yourself, and you're looking around at your wife, and you're looking at your husband, and you're looking at the people across the street, and then so very, very strange how this works, right? Not only is it not reality, it is also a intentionally biased perspective that absolves the people who need to be critiquing themselves and learning and growing to be better representatives of the people in our democracy. No, they heap the blame on other people. They pick a minority group, or sometimes it's a power group like men, and the dangerous thing is, whether it's malicious or intentional or it's unintentional, this is also a tactic, a division tactic. This is like, again, the idea is like the country or these white people are irreversibly racist. Black people are unconscionably, sexist. And you pick a demographic and you tell a story, you take some statistic, and every statistic gives you an opportunity to weave some words and a narrative together. So you do this, and now, instead of understanding that people are what they are in certain contexts, and that, it's actually something deeper than just this idea that some groups of people are intrinsically incapable of seeing of this and that. They engage in these like half-assed conversations, and we end up in this like division stuff. And it's dangerous stuff. So the whole conversation is warped and removes our capacity to actually see again. So it's very, very, very ridiculous stuff. Pause for that. And then because they won't learn, the Democrats, instead of learning to actually be genuine representatives of the working class and of labor, and again, all of the traditional left values that they're supposed to represent, they resort to just pandering. It's the same people who thought it was a good idea to have Nancy Pelosi do a kente cloth thing and take a knee. Like that was it. Man, she cares about us. Look, she took a knee with the kente cloth. Or they'll put a brown face in a high place and tell us that we should be supporting that now. What? You have to support that. That's a black woman. What? You don't support black women? It's like you're not allowed to look at which black woman it is in particular. You're not allowed to do that. No. You're not allowed to look at which policies they've completely flipped on. We're not allowed to have that political analysis. They won't let us have it. They want us to talk on this plane of racial and gender dysphoria, and the fact, there's these ideas that we simply can't see each other. And in fact, there is a deeper and better conversation that we could be having, and it's a unifying conversation instead of this one. But the unifying conversation would be one that shows how much the two political parties have been failing us. And so we can't have that conversation. Not on cable news. So that's why it's amazing, because all this stuff is like helping us see how it works on some level. And it doesn't, like, whoever the president is, we continue our work. The work continues. The work should continue whether it was if Harris had won or not. Meaningfully, for real. The work to me includes like recognizing that the news is deeper than just electoral politics. Like, even the fact that we're gonna talk for weeks and weeks and parse over a little poll and exit polling, and people gonna come up with their narratives and tell, we're gonna do that over, and there's gonna be reams at the end of the next 2 months. We're gonna have incredible hours, gigabytes of data of like people chattering and saying all kinds of nonsense about their interpretations of these statistical numbers and data and who showed up to the polls and this and that. But the news is way bigger than that. The news is not, that is such a narrow thing. Again, not only have I've broken down how the conversations are actually damaging to us. They make us dumber. They make us see less well. They make us reactive instead of having us in an engagement with each other. And further, if we're talking about like the tweets, AOC tweeted this, and if we're talking about these political polls and all of this stuff, that is such a narrow, tiny sliver of what is. And I'm telling you that the news is something deeper than that. And we are stepping into that. I think this is not going to solve, there's so many things we need to do in real life. There's so many things we need to be doing, in tandem with what I'm about to describe. But I've talked about this in a previous episode where I want to like emphasize that we are the news. And when we get on social media, we are journalists who have the capacity to give a genuine story about what's going on in our area. That's if we just experienced like some sort of a natural disaster or some, odd experience in the world, we can tell that story. We can tell it better than a lot of these traditional journalists can. But beyond that, just our humanness, our health, our mental health, our spirituality, our daily experiences, our daily coping mechanisms, our philosophies, the partnerships we engage in. If we find love, how we found love, how we engage with each other, and you watch someone and you go, oh shit, I didn't know humans could do that. I didn't know that was an option. I didn't know, oh, that's actually a clever way to go about things. And that's the news. And that's actually, that makes sense. That could bring me joy. That could bring me happiness and safety. Part of the key is like, it's not like an effort of like trying to get an audience and trying to monetize audiences, which is the intention in a lot of the places where journalism goes wrong. Again, recognizing that journalism is a subgenre of fiction. It's the subgenre of fiction that plays in reality. And but when you're trying to look for an audience and you're trying to make money, you end up like Dr. Samuel Cartwright. You end up like Fox News. You end up like the Daily Wire. you end up looking for, oh wow, here's the big demographic: white men. These guys have money. These guys have a point of view. I can tap into their anxieties and their fears, and we can make some money here. And that's what they do, and it's all well documented. It's really clear. But I'm glad we live in a country that has a strong commitment to the First Amendment, so they get to do what they do. We just need to raise our sense of media literacy. I think, unfortunately, there's just too many, in too many instances, we validate these people and these enterprises. We don't offer enough of a difference and clarity of what we mean when we say journalism. That we're not just talking about like someone who works at a company. Um, but that we're trying to like to speak to what is true. And again, in this moment, post this election, the people in the big cable news companies, they can't tell you what is true. They can't. They'd much rather tell you that you're the problem than to assess themselves and to tell you what is true. So that's wild. Applause for that. So I'm interested in like you're the story, and I think that awareness and that confidence of just being confidently, this goes to language as well, as I talked about, in terms of like setting language and being intentional, but also like being unafraid. For me, it's been a challenge because I do have a kind of a private sensibility. Like she was a great deal more like, yeah, okay, let's turn the camera on, let's have some fun. And I love that about her, by the way. But I've been intentionally trying to press forward because I do want to model what I'm describing here, which is an attempt to to be as genuine as possible and to share truth as freely as possible and as genuinely as possible, because that's the only way forward. That's the only way forward, yo. It's wild. It's wild. Look at those clips. They're gonna keep going too. They're just gonna keep going too. Everyone's gonna be at fault, so they're not gonna learn. They're committed to not learning. And they're committed to, more important than them not learning, frankly, because maybe privately there might be some like real discussion privately, but more important is to implant in your brain the idea that this woman said the campaign was flawless, the most flawless campaign. This is objectively a flawless campaign. Like, what? Why? Why would you even need to say that? As a journalist, what would compel you to need to give an A plus score to any sort of campaign, any political campaign? Flawless? For what? Oh, because you don't want any room for doubt. You don't want any room for criticism. Because 6 weeks ago, when you were pandering and supporting, Kamala's or candidate Harris's dismissal of the left, you don't want that kind of criticism. For why'd you allow that? You don't want the criticism for why Joe Biden opted out so late in the campaign. You don't want any of these kinds of, you don't want people to start having that texture of a conversation. So you block that all out. It's completely flawless. Applause. A flawless campaign. Come on, it was flawless. That's not reality. I'm telling you, I'm on Facebook seeing black women going, I can't believe black men hate women. Black men hate women. It's just terrible. I see it. And some of these women are, a lot of these women are respected. Like, intelligent women who have come to the conclusion that black men hate women because that's what MSNBC told them. Why? Because not because it's the truth, not because it's the whole truth at the very least, but of course there's some shit going on. There's also this manosphere bullshit. It's really fucked up quite a few men, real talk. We talk about that also on the show. We're gonna get into that on another show. But like beyond that, it is purely a cover to avoid them having the conversations that they need to be having for them to grow. And so this is trauma, their trauma unleashed on us, where they have to rigidly tell themselves that they're perfect and now tell us that the problems are some intrinsic, inescapable, bias that you have that makes you a less good person. And we all should be looking out for that. Look at these white women over here. Look at these black men over here. And we already know about the white men. And then, so now we're all just talking about ourselves in these categories, in these words. Cheap sentences are being created. And the root purpose of these sentences is to cover up for what should be a real conversation. So we have to have the conversation ourselves, and we're doing it. And I love the people that have stepped up on Instagram and TikTok and on Facebook and are on their blogs and on their podcasts and are having real, long form, serious conversations, challenging themselves to understand what their genuine voices mean and how to express that creatively in the fiction space, creatively in the artistic space, and in the nonfiction space, which we know is a subgenre of fiction. You are the news. You are the news. The shit that you do is the news. And how you do it is the news. And the process and the difficulties and the overcomings and the observations and the growth and the flourishing and the love and the tough stuff too. And the honesty and the genuineness. We're not having conversations to make money and to monetize audiences. We're having conversations because we want to share good information, which was at the root of news in its earliest stages, was helping each other avoid pitfalls and avoid large animals that are over in this area, and to try the mushrooms or don't try the mushrooms, or do try the mushrooms and watch these berries and watch out for each other. And here's a danger and here's a good thing. And we're just going to keep doing that. And I think it's going to create a better ecosystem and a better product than this other stuff they can't help themselves. So, yeah, I guess I got into politics there, but no, that was more media stuff, Yeah. You are the news. Love yourself and find your genuine voice. And even if it's not genuine in the moment, I know, I don't even know what the word genuine, we can get into even what that means. Authenticity. These are very difficult and interesting words that have value, but when you get into them, you realize how on a knife's edge they are, what it really means. But that you're always evolving and that you allow yourself that at every moment, and you are yourself. And you share that with us. And we learn from each other. And I think from this, I'm just imagining a condition where some of the best, most genuine, most interesting, consistently genuine, wise, kind, smart, useful people will find their audiences. And, it'll be a weird thing. It's beyond explanation, or I can't describe it more than that. I think you just have to live it and be it and see what happens. But I'm excited for it, and I just want you to know that you are the news, and we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. This is not the worst condition that this country has ever been in, and you people have never been, more equipped and connected. And there's, we're gonna be okay. And you are the news. All right. So that's that. Let's keep it moving.
One shot right now.
Applause for that.
Right when the crowd pipe down. It's kind of
Yo,
like
listen,
time
you are
froze
looking
on ice
for,
now. Damn,
or you'll
stomach
see what you're
tight,
looking
round
for.
flipped upside down. Try to speak, but the words and the thought took flight now. Sweaty, but can't
See what
pause
you're
or
looking for,
wipe
that's all I
down.
want, okay?
You pray for the day
I'll
you
see you
flow
tomorrow,
with a
baby.
hype crowd. Now they hanging on your every word and slight
Please.
sound. Maybe these critics is wrong. Maybe you twice as strong. What if every fear and doubt was gone? I'm up first, bright from dawn, like fuck you, we yawn. I squeeze life, pythons bite when the mic's on. Peace, I might respawn. I hook left with the right arm, living in 5-star, ring the alarm. My full nature is still greater, I'm twice born. Inevitable, that's the fucking level I'm on. Picture me lost, I'm differently raw. Been through the muck, most y'all instantly boff. Now I'm strictly the boss, drippy, hood hippie couture. Feeding these bitches till it's ripping they jaws. For y'all fans of the bullshit, me flicking it off. I damage your whole clique, these clowns really pissing me off. My verse is heat, and scripted is law. Like, bitch, you fucking know who you singing across, huh?
Okay, you got their attention now,
I
bro.
keep winning.
You just gotta keep showing them what it is,
I
man.
keep winning.
Your shit different, for real, though.
I
man.
keep winning.
Yo, stay away from the politics,
I
though,
keep
my
winning.
dude. They still not getting the message, kid.
I keep winning.
They still don't understand where you coming from.
I keep winning.
But make sure you secure the fucking
I
ground,
keep
man.
winning.
I see the growth,
Yo,
keep going.
I'm through playing it low key. Don't sleep. My power levels are OP. I'm floating. The mask
It
off.
is what it is.
The crew run deep, bigger than Sasquatch. We that large, the last gladiator. Blast off. It's either love or give me respect. That's all. Killing these niggas like, yeah, this what you asked for. Black Panther spit flames from Asgard. The whole squadron click transform. Fuck around, find out. Here's a crash course. We all time past now and fast forward. And we keep winning.
Yo, that's crazy, man. Yo, you did that, man. Yo, real talk, man. You can really rap, bro.